Man, episode 5 just starts off again with the nostalgia. We're going back to Genosha, but it starts off with them getting interviewed because, they've been very notable, giving us a lot of accreditation back to the original series with all the political figures involved with Charles Xavier. I forget the name of her character, but she was a direct friend, but also just a human, no mutant. She becomes a part of like the whole operation set up politically after Genosha gets made a part of the United Nations. Like, it's a really big deal. This is something that Charles worked for years to get towards, and now Magneto's in charge. And man, seeing that they're setting up this whole council where Madeline Pryor, the second Jean Grey, being a part of it, seeing most of some of the more noticeable members of the Hellfire Club being a part of it. Like, I can't remember her name, but the girl with psychic powers. She's the one in the silvery kind of dress. You have the guy that's got the big mustache. It's like something Shaw, I believe. He's there. You've got Magneto being elected to be in charge of it. Like, that was intense. But Genosha's changed a lot, just seeing all the different mutants running around openly using their powers. That was pretty cool. And Nightcrawler's return, like him just popping up, that was so cool. I love how they kept him with the German accent, how they kept him very much acting like he was, but a lot happier. You can tell that they've tried to take advantage of it being a little bit of a time difference and the impact of everything going on from mutant kind actually being represented in the behaviors, the joy, and like the celebrations, like them, the whole dance scene where they were throwing out powers to make it look prettier and more exciting, like fireworks. Like, that was a good touch. That really was. But man, Gambit definitely comes off a bit jealous. They're in the little scene where they're talking about how like Magneto's being glorified, and the scene with the money thing, $10 apples. It's like, I think he's on to something. There's like Gambit rarely throughout the original animated series was questioning into something that there wasn't something more to. So it's definitely something to look out for. The X-Men interview, that was interesting for a couple notes mainly. That I haven't mentioned already. Like, one of them was Jean Grey being mentioned as Marvel Girl. Like, that's her original name on the X-Men team. So it was kind of cool giving credence to her origins as a character. But man, him having to give up his kid and he's no longer there. And the interviewer kind of poking and prodding and pushing about the thing, man, like, Scott kind of lost it. It was a little interesting, man. The answer we got about Magneto and Rogue was definitely not the one I was expecting. I didn't actually expect him to have been in a loving relationship before. That was a little interesting. But man, when they did that, like, go back and look on some of the flashbacks of Rogue when she was talking to Gambit. Man, that was so good. Like, they redid parts from flashbacks in the original animated series when we got to learn about the origin of Rogue's powers and how she can fly and has super strength and stuff like that. They redid the animation on those parts. So basically, they did the reanimation of flashbacks as flashbacks for this series, and it was just continuity on point. And it was just great to see that they are paying that much attention to what happened in the original series. But man, you could just feel how pissed off Remy was hearing all of this, just sitting there throwing his cards into the fireplace. It was, yeah. But ultimately, you know, she took one last dance with Magneto, gave him a kiss, and it was kind of like, this might be the last time I get to touch someone like this. But, you know, referring back to Remy or Gambit saying, you know, some things are more than skin deep. She goes and says the same line to him and walks away. Like, she picks Gambit 100%. There's no doubt. But man, you can't tell me the moment those green energy blasts started happening, Cable showing up, that you can't tell me you didn't know some bad stuff was about to happen, man. Those explosions started taking out everybody. And like, dude, him saying, like, I'm sorry, Mom, right after she realized, oh my God, that's my son, you made it. Like, that's so rough. Like, so rough. Like, that hurt. But I'm gonna come back to that in a moment, because there's something that particular moment makes me think is gonna happen. Dude, Magneto jumping in to protect the Morlocks, and then him just being like, I can't, don't be afraid though, and boom, they're probably dead. Like, I think we just saw Magneto and the Morlocks wiped out, except for their leader. Like, obviously she was on some stretcher somewhere else, but that was intense. And Gambit's sacrifice after just whipping ass, like, oh dude, that hurt. But he really just straight used his power to charge a whole, like, giant, like, kaiju level sized freaking sentinel with 3 heads. Like, what was that? Like, I'm curious what this is. Like, what? That was really interesting. But man, his sacrifice to save everyone really hurt. Like, seeing Rogue holding his body and saying, I can't feel you, and just crying. The fact that Magneto and the Morlocks are dead, Gambit's most likely dead. The fact that you just watched like a dozen characters we've gotten to know die. Most of the progress for Genosha has just been destroyed. And you already know from earlier episodes, it can't be the same guys. Like, we got them captured. Did they escape? Like, what's going on? Like, there's a lot of questions going on here. Like, who's behind that thing? Where's the new tech? Like, that green energy, that's new. That's more powerful than they've been using before. So this is new tech. Is this a huge event? Did Madeline Pryor just die? Is that why Cable was there? Like, why was he there? That's a question in itself. I don't know. There's a lot of questions, but I do personally believe that in at least, if not the next episode, over the next few episodes, I think Cable's traveling through time to fix an event going on right here. And this is probably going to get Bishop brought back and things like that. You know, we know that this is just season 1, not the only season. So we're getting a second season. So they're going to actually set up some plot lines to continue over. So I'm very interested. If you remember, the last series left off with Apocalypse kind of, you know, having a chance to come back. And that would be really good season 2 enemy to really work up towards. And fucking with time again gives him a chance to come back from where he fell into like this warp and whirlpool of vortexes of different timelines. It was interesting. And I'd be interested to see what they do with that whole part of the animated series to kind of see how they bring it into today. But hey, till next episode, catch you later.